Welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. Today I have a short list of some underfollowed 9.8 comics to invest in. And I'm really happy with how the list kind of came together this morning. Yeah, some solid 9.8s all around to consider, I think. So first one up is a Gunslinger Spawn #1. Yeah, this one's going to go down as the first solo titled Gunslinger Spawn comic book. And I feel like for, brand new comic books that have come out in the last 6 months or so, maybe there's a little bit of investment potential on a Gunslinger Spawn #1. I think, a lot of Gunslinger Spawn fans out there, probably the most popular version of Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn. So I just see this one, becoming pretty heavily collected over time, it being the first solo Gunslinger Spawn title. So for this one, there's two variant covers that I really like. The first one, variant cover B. This is pretty much the McFarlane variant for Gunslinger Spawn 1. Yeah, luckily was able to grab one of these on a new comic book day when they first came out. Have a look on the census for the McFarlane cover on this one. 103 9.8s. It's the variant cover B. 103 9.8s in a blue label. 60.6% is the 9.8 ratio. That's kind of interesting. This is kind of hot off the presses. They go right to CGC. A lot of times the ratios are 80 or 90%. On a brand new book like this, but lower the better for the 9.8 ratio. 60.6% of all graded copies are 9.8. That's a pretty solid start for the variant cover B in the 9.8. So I saw a few sales on that one. One was for $79.99 and another one for $95. So I think those are pretty much price targets to aim for if you want that one. I also really like the variant cover D. This is the Capullo variant for this one, pretty much with Gunslinger Spawn looking awesome on the horse. Kind of really cool cowboy vibes, I would say, on this one. I was really shocked to see, in the 9.8 in the blue label, there is not a lot of this one on the census. I'm pretty sure it was single digits. I didn't write that down, but I think there was 8 or 9 9.8s in the blue label for this variant cover D. So yeah, maybe if you're out there and you're kind of into grading comics, sending them to CGC, look out for a couple of these variant cover Ds and get a few 9.8s on the market would be my advice, I would say. So that Capullo variant in a 9.8 saw one sell for $175.99 recently. I think that's a bit of an overpay, to be honest. Interesting, just about a month ago, there was a signature series one for this one. But it wasn't signed by Todd. It's signed by a couple of the other artists that I personally don't even really know. But that one had went for $92. A signature series one in that cover D, the Capullo cover. So you know what? I think the Capullo cover is maybe a little bit more wanted than the McFarlane cover. I would kind of go maybe 100 to 125 on that one if I really wanted that one. There's a few other really tough variants for this one if you're really serious about this one. There's the sort of McFarlane variant in the numbered and signed version, and I'm seeing those in the 9.8 sell for right around $1,000 pretty much. I think one had even went a little bit over $1,000. For that one. There's also the sketch cover of the Capullo cover. So if you're into sketch covers, I'm not usually too much of a sketch cover guy, and on this one too, I actually like just the eye appeal of the colored version, but that sketch cover is more rare, so you might want to go that route as well on a Gunslinger Spawn #1. And you know what? Another Gunslinger Spawn kind of collector item to consider is a Spawn 306 in the McFarlane variant. And this kind of really foreshadowed, a lot of the Gunslinger Spawn things to come from, the Spawn run of comics. Because it says here, it's things to come, Gunslinger Spawn. And this was before, Gunslinger Spawn was in the most recent Spawn run, and then before the Gunslinger Spawn #1 as well. So this one might be one to consider. Just a cover I was really loving right off the bat. I bought mine for about $100 in a 9.8. And I think now they're sort of I think they're about $150. Although I didn't look this morning, to be honest, but I think they've added a little bit in price, the Spawn 306, just the really cool Gunslinger Spawn cover smoking. Okay, next one here, make sure that stands up, is a World War Hulk #5. First full appearance of Skaar, who is the son of Hulk. I think this one is kind of a bit of a double barrel 9.8, where it's got some speculation value, I think, with World War Hulk coming out. If they bring Skaar in the World War Hulk show or movie or whatever it's supposed to be, wow, yeah, I see this one absolutely a higher price than it is now. We'll get into prices in a moment. But if that doesn't happen, I still see this one as just a pretty decent investment grade 9.8 from this era. So have a look here on the census. 78 9.8s in a blue label, a 1 of 78. This is in the first print cover where he's fighting Sentry on the cover. Yeah, pretty great eye appeal on the cover as well. 63.4%, the 9.8 ratio. Saw one of these selling a 9.8 blue label for $339.99. There's one on eBay right now for $399.99. So you know what? I think, pretty decent value around that level, given, if you're a really big Hulk fan, you get that first appearance of first full appearance of Son of Hulk, Skaar. That's really appealing. But if Skaar got into the World War Hulk show or movie that's going to be coming out in the MCU, this one's $339.99 now. I see this one like pretty much knocking on around $1,000, with there only being 78 in the 9.8 out there right now. So, yeah, World War Hulk is a number 5, is one to consider if you're a Hulk fan, for sure. Okay, next one is a Godzilla number 1 from 1977. This one is a bit of a no-brainer, and I'm kind of surprised. Like, my 7-year-old nephew is just right into all these monsters right now, and he loves like Godzilla and King Kong right now. Which kind of surprised me, but I think that's a really good sign when like a 7-year-old who doesn't really know much is just feeling that Godzilla is really cool. I think that's a good sign. So this one is a bit of an underfollowed one, but I think, at the same time, kind of a no-brainer investment grade 9.8 too. There's a 495 9.8s in the blue label, and 23.2% is the 9.8 ratio, which admittedly for a 1977 9.8 is not that good. So, in a sense, that's kind of good because it keeps it a little bit affordable on Godzilla number 1 from 1977 in a 9.8, one selling for $599.95 and another for $675. So you know what? This might not be the toughest 9.8, but I think you get a really big, like this is kind of the first, I'm pretty sure it's the first Godzilla titled comic book in Marvel Comics or something like that. I don't think it's like the first appearance of Godzilla, but it's definitely really heavily collected among Godzilla fans. And yeah, just getting that big character in pop culture, Godzilla, I think there's potential there. And you know what? Like $599.95 is looking like a pretty great value to get, this book from 1977 and like the perfect grade for $600, with Godzilla being, once again, like a pretty big pop culture figure. So that one is making a lot of sense for me, I think. But still, pretty underfollowed, I think, on a Godzilla number 1 from 1977. Next one's really cool as a modern, for sure. And I'm kind of like wondering how I missed this one when it first came out on kind of New Comic Book Day, because it came out in 2018 and I was kind of into things during that time. It's a Exiles number 3. This is first appearance of Peggy Carter, Captain America. And it's got a really cool like Uncanny X-Men 268 cover homage, that Jim Lee, Captain America, Wolverine, and Black Widow cover. Pretty awesome homage of that cover. And for a modern, this one's kind of sticking out. Really cool cover. First Peggy Carter as Captain America. I think Captain America has kind of never looked as good at, being a woman, I think. Peggy Carter is looking pretty hot as a Captain America, in my opinion. So this one's just kind of cool, for sure. 67 9.8s in a blue label. 43.2% is the 9.8 ratio. And certainly, like with the multiverse coming and that Doctor Strange movie coming, almost like anything goes in the multiverse. So who knows? Maybe Peggy Carter, Captain America, makes an appearance in the MCU at some point. But right now, this one in a 9.8 saw one sell for $344 and $399.99. There's only 67 of them out there. This might be one, again, if you're kind of out there grading, you might want to think about grabbing a few of these and sending them to CGC, get a couple more 9.8s on the market. But just a great cover on Exiles number 3, pretty solid first appearance that's got potential. And one sold for $344. I think that's a price target to aim for. Another one sold for about $400, just a little under $399.99. But $344, price to aim for on an Exiles number 3 into 9.8 if you want that one. Okay, last one, a bit of a no-brainer, certainly. Uncanny X-Men 213. I think the Wolverine versus whoever are pretty solid collectible key issues for sure. I know we've covered, quite a few of them. Wolverine 88, the Deadpool one, and there's a lot of them. Punisher War Journal, the first time he fights Punisher. Uncanny X-Men 213, first time Wolverine and Sabertooth duke it out, and they go at it quite a few other times moving forward here in comic book history, but I'm pretty sure this is the first time. And correct me if I'm wrong, I was kind of doing a little quick research, and I'm pretty sure this is the first time Wolverine and Sabertooth fight. Uncanny X-Men 213, a pretty solid cover. I think this is the end of the Mutant Massacre storyline, which was a pretty huge storyline when it came out, to be honest. 525 9.8s out there in the blue label, and 21.9% the 9.8 ratio. Not too bad. Saw this one sell right around $300. I think there was a sale kind of $350 to $375, but I think you want to aim right around $300 on this one. And yeah, you get that classic battle. A bit of a no-brainer, but certainly like X-Men's coming in the MCU. Whoever Wolverine fights, whether it's Deadpool or Sabertooth or whoever it might be, or the Hulk, it's going to depend on, you know, which one of these books kind of really jumps in value. But if not, if none of that really happens, these are just pretty solid collector items. And these Wolverine versus type of key issues have always been collected over time. And yeah, Uncanny X-Men 213, a bit underfollowed still. Yeah, I feel like, you know, it's not one that initially for me kind of was, you know, one of those first Wolverine versus key issues that you would think about, but absolutely, you know, decent on the census and right around $300. I think it's, you know, one to consider if you're a big Wolverine and Sabertooth fan, for sure. Uncanny X-Men 213 into 9.8. All right, so just a solid short list there of, you know, 5 underfollowed ones I don't think we talk about very often at all, but just making a ton of sense, I think, in a 9.8 as great collector items, I think. All right, team, thanks so much for watching, as always. I'll see you on the next one. If you're liking my content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.